we started that since we decided that we're going to keep going through the summer and not take a break, it would be nice to do something different, that I might send a message out. And how would you guys feel about something like a day trip? Woohoo! Somewhere. And I'm welcoming suggestions. Obviously, it has to be something that's simple. I don't drive, so I don't have a car. I don't want to go to the point of having to organise coaches and drive, but something where we can all travel that has interest, tarot and such for us. So open to suggestion on that. But I'll think about it. Let's start. Now, the idea of today, when I had this idea first to do color therapy and tarot, I didn't actually realize that it would be very difficult for me to condense this in an hour and to give you. I'm assuming, I went by the assumption that most of you, A, are not color therapists, B, don't really have much of a background in associating alternative therapies with tarot. So all I'm going to do today is basically just give you an idea on how to do it and what it is. Color therapy, it's very, very old really. It's not a new thing. Back to Egyptian times, old Egypt, they used to cure sort of illnesses, or heal if you want, for want of a better word, they had these really beautiful rooms where the glass would be different colors. The glass would be different colors. So, for example, you'd have a blue room or a red room. And for whatever illnesses that they needed to treat, they had the patient sit in this particular room for a certain period of time to get the benefits of the color. It really is very simple. Color therapy uses color as such by way of eating certain foods of a certain color, wearing certain clothes. Now, I probably was expecting some comments here because I always wear black. But I made an effort today. I have purple laces. But jokes aside, it's really very simple. Generally speaking, the color that you mostly shun or you hate, say, it's the color you need. In relation to your body, to your energy chakras, or to your point of energies, which, as you know, possibly they're all related to color. My one is yellow. I have a total aversion for yellow, and yellow is solar plexus. Yellow is, in a sense, is your ego, is your assertion, wanting to be assertive, and sometimes I struggle with that. So what I do, I generally tend to eat yellow foods or buy yellow things for my house. I would not wear yellow. I did it for a day at work a year ago, and I had this yellow outfit for the whole day. So, how does it work with tarot? Well, you know that there are tons and tons of different decks, and all of them with different imagery, different colors, etc. My idea and the way I do it is simply to use either tarot or oracle cards. There are plenty of oracle cards there that are color-based. One of them is called The Secret Language of Color. Can't remember the name of the author, but you can Google it. But really, you can make your own. You can just get pieces of different colored paper and make it fine. When you do a reading for a friend, for a client, etc., and you want to use color together with the reading, what do you think you would need to look at first? There's no right or wrong answer, just
what colour they're wearing.
Pardon?
Maybe what colour they're wearing, or look at their aura, one or the other.
Okay. Any others?
So the dominant colour of the spread.
Yeah, that's very good.
So what your sun sign is?
Yeah. Anything else? I'll go one by one. Yours, yes, the dominant color. Although it can be deceiving. For example, as I was using myself as an example, I always wear black, but that doesn't mean I don't actually use other colors. The dominant color in the spread, yes, because also in the handout, I kept it really simple. I just gave you basically the significance of the main colors and the colors, the derivative colors as well. The first spread that you see there, the color interspread, I made that one up, the first one. using red for your emotions. It doesn't have to be a particular question. You can use that spread with any question you want. Using red for your emotions, yellow for your creativity, green for your outer self, the way you express yourself, and blue for your inner self or your sort of shadow side. Yes, as Lucius pointed out, this is one of the main ways to do it. Looking at the color spread, obviously you have different decks, so it depends what deck you're using. They're either way tend to be predominantly yellow, so you don't really have much play. But you can have decks like the one I brought with me today, which is the Wild Unknown, which is sort of a black and white deck with splashes of color, and I absolutely love it. The way that the colors are, for example, just in the Daughter of Cups. It's black and white, but you've got red and blue and yellow, kind of the in a wave. And that's the way they work. I can pass the deck around and you can have a look. There's just tiny centers of color in it, if you want to. Another example is using oracle cards. So you'll do your own tarot spread, and then you'll add other cards from an oracle. Generally speaking, if you would have a spread that come out with a predominant color, that person would be overactive on that particular color. Now, you might ask, what influence does it have in a reading? Because if you have certain cards, you're obviously interpreting them as tarot, right? So you're thinking, well, what does color have anything to do with it? Well, suppose you have a spread. Suppose that someone is asking you a particular career question. They're really looking to completely overhaul their situation, change a career. And you get cards like the Chariot, the World, and the Empress. Think either way now. I don't know if you can picture it. If not, you can look at your own decks and see what colors you get. Would you think that on top of giving the person the interpretation of the particular card, having a look at what the overall theme of the color would give you a sense of how the emotion of that person are? For example, if you get a lot of red, that person would be really, really anxious about the issue. So you would then need to pull out more cards to clarify why are they so anxious. Is it because of the changes? Is it because they're not really sure what they're doing? But that's just an example. Plus, it can help, even if you as a reader, even if the person is not asking for a color reading or a color-related reading, if you're reading for someone and you notice that it's really red, or it's really yellow, or it's really whatever color, it can give you an insight, I feel, on to what the person is going through and what the person is feeling, or the way the reading is going on that. You can then advise the person. For example, if you have a lot of red, you can say, well, I feel that there is too much energy here, and you perhaps have an overactive root chakra, or an aura that's particularly red. I know when I had my aura photographed was completely red. There was no other color, it was just red.
Oh.
I know, yeah, that's what I thought, because I was actually sick at the time. I wasn't feeling very well, and I thought it's probably going to be like, all grey and stuff, but it wasn't. It was completely red. So it would help you target what areas the person you're reading for needs advice and needs help with. It's very simple, because if you look at the color significance, you just go by those significators. So you know that red is overactive energy, it can be outburst, it can be fear, red. Having too much red, it can also be fear, or anger. Yellow, creativity, studying, learning. Green is a healing color, generally speaking, but it's also balance. And blue, again, another healing color, but it's more about emotions. And it can be more about your shadow side. If you like the idea of color therapy as such, you can delve into it either by way of the internet or by way of doing there are courses out there for doing color therapy. That's totally up to you. But I also feel that it's really, really helpful when you do a reading. If you see what kind of color, of course if you're using, the problem is some decks there are not actually colorful at all. Some are actually black and white. You would have to use something that's color-based, but then I'm assuming that if you are doing that, then maybe you already know that, so you use a deck that could give you enough color. A very good deck for that is called the Tarot Color. Funny enough. And it's an artist based in the US, and the deck is completely simple. The cards are spread in colors, and you have no images, just the name of the card, the astrological correspondence, the Kabbalistic correspondence, the meaning of the card written on the card, that's all. And that is really good for this kind of spreads, because you would actually see physically what color is predominant. Whereas when you have very busy decks, like for example the Illuminati Tarot, very, very busy. So you got like all colors there, so you wouldn't really be able to ascertain. The other spread here also is a chakra spread that I found, and we also talked about this one when we did the Create Your Own spread. And that is just simply looking at the 7 chakras and what the balance is. Again, it's one card with the option of drawing more if you want. You would see that if you have a card that, for example, you get the crown chakra, the first one, and you get a very red card, that would mean that that particular chakra is overactive. The point is to make it simple for you, because obviously you're not working as a color therapist as such, but it really, really is very simple. It's just using your intuition and paying attention when you do a reading on how the colors interact in that particular reading. Is there a predominant one? Is there a lacking one? Is there one that is less? Are there connections between the colors? You can even do your tarot reading, and then either by using oracle or colored card, or I have this example, which is not card, but I use this for chakra reading. I can open it. And all they are, they're simply silk cloth. And the way it works, if you find that some particular spot is overactive, you, as a therapist, that is not as a reader, don't get people lined up for you, but you get them lined up, and then you just apply the particular color onto the chakra that corresponds, or onto the energy point that needs that particular energy. And it doesn't matter if they're closed, the color still goes through. It's the same with color therapy, it's the same when you do color torch therapy, which is basically just a little a torch with different filters. And you just apply the light. It doesn't matter even if you have clothes on. It don't, it just the color will.
It's the vibration.
Sorry, it's the vibration of the color. That's correct.
Yeah.
I've heard with fabrics, it's always better if it's silk, cotton. That should always be natural
Yeah,
fabrics.
this is actually pure silk.
Yeah.
So
that's usually important for the energy.
But I mean, like I said, it's not a complicated thing, but it was also difficult to try and I think to try and explain it to you guys in such a concentrated way, because I think the best way for you to use it would be to use it in spreads. And if you see that there is a particular issue with that spread in terms of color, then you can always pull clarifiers, or you can do a particular color spread like the other one, the red emotional level, etc., etc. Or you can simply ask, why is this color lacking? Why is this color predominant? You can ask the person you're reading for, do you feel that you're lacking a certain energy? If you see that, for example, red is lacking at all, you can say, well, do you feel tired all the time? What are your energy levels? Because perhaps you've had certain cards that denote that there is a bit of a impasse or a bit of a being stuck there. So you can use